Ha- okay, so you went out to a movie with Uncle Harry and Dottie.
Why are you asking me all this?
Well, I just want to know.
Oh, all right.
I never.
Let's see now what happened. I was going to Lux College and I didn't like it, so I quit. I was still living with Aunt Annie, so because I knew George, and then I met Harry, and so I got a job at the Lowe's Groceries, or Lowe's Market, I think it was called. It was on Fillmore, and someplace there where there was a large amount of black people living there at that time.
Lowe's Market, is that?
It's called Lowe's Market.
Who owned Lowe's Market?
Uncle Harry and Dad.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Harry was only 19.
So you got a job at Lowe's Market
store
that Dad owned with Uncle Harry.
Uh-huh.
So that's how you got
Dad was working in the meat market department. And Uncle Harry was in the grocery department. And Uncle Walt was there too.
And what did you do?
Oh, whatever grocery, stack cans and do whatever people do at the grocery store.
How did you get the job there? Was it through Uncle Harry?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's how you met Dad?
Mm-hmm. Met Dad and got to know him more.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, did you...
The rest is history.
Well, I don't even know history.
It isn't. The rest was not history.
Well, okay.
Definitely not.
Did you go out?
Well, when I went out, it was a sort of a group thing, because I went out with Pat and Dottie, and there was Harry, George, and Dale.
So you went out on group dates?
Yeah, it was a group date. And
Well,
George was with Pat. I don't know who Harry was. I don't know. I can't remember.
So how did you end up going from group dates to getting married?
It was no longer a group date.
Oh, it was just you and Dad.
Eventually.
And how did that happen? Did you ask him or did he ask you?
It was both of us.
Okay.
Yeah, we both knew that we wanted to be married.
Oh, how long did it take before you got married?
How long?
After you started going on group dates?
A year or so.
Oh, okay. So how old were you when you got married?
I was 21.
Okay. So Dad was 23.
Mm-hmm.
So Dad co-owned a market.
Yeah, he owned it with Uncle Harry.
Uncle Harry when he was like 20 something.
Huh?
Like when he was 20. He owned a market with Uncle Harry.
Yeah. It was called Lowe's Market.
Okay. So where did you get married?
Where?
Where?
We went to Reno.
Oh, so you eloped?
Yes.
Okay. But I see all these wedding pictures and stuff.
Yeah, what?
I see wedding pictures of, like it looked like a big ceremony.
Back.
Oh, when you got back, you had a reception?
Yeah.
So
But before we went to Reno, he always came to see me in Salinas. But by that time, I moved back to Salinas and moved back with Graham and Grandpa.
Okay.
And he came every weekend to see me and to meet Grandma and Grandpa.
Okay.
And they both liked him, my father especially. Well, both of them liked him. And my father, Grandpa, hardly ever liked anybody, it seemed like. But he really took to Dad immediately.
Did that matter to you? I mean, would it have made a difference if he didn't like him?
No, it didn't. I always assumed that they were going to like him.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So?
And what about Dad's parents and you? Did you meet them?
What about Dad and me?
Dad's parents?
Oh, well, see, at that time, I found out that his parents were separated. They were divorced.
Okay.
I didn't know that, but when I met his mom, I was a little nervous. I did, I was just nervous about meeting his mother. But by that time, I think I knew. I don't know if I knew any of the sisters. I might have known Auntie Ida.
Okay.
I might have, but when I went to meet his mother, my mother told me the kind of gifts I should bring when I went to meet her. My mother, Bill's mother, Dad's mother.
What was the gift?
Well, there were Chinese things. There were food. There was, at that time, there was a salted duck, dried duck that you cut up. And I don't even know if they have stuff like that anymore. But Graham advised me to bring some of those things, couple of things, food as gifts. And
so how was it when you met her?
oh, I was nervous about meeting her, but she was, just polite and cordial. And the sisters, you know how many sisters there were? Ida, Mamie, Esther, and Hazel. Well, Hazel was really young. She was probably about 9 or 10 years old or something like that. And Esther was, Ida was the oldest, and she was married to Uncle George too.
Right. She's like a year older than Dad.
Yeah. Although she claims, and that, did I ever tell you how she claimed she was born the same year as Dad?
Mm-hmm.
And when she said that, I said, well, how could that be? Because let's say he's 25 and you're a year older. And she claims that that's how old, she was born in the same year. So I said, that means that either you're twins or you were born at the beginning of the year and he was born at the end of the year. And that's what happened.
So his birthday was November.
Yeah, November.
6th.
And hers, November 6th. And her birthday was January something.
So they could have been born the same year.
Yeah, they were born the same year.
Okay.
And, as I got older, I thought when I was talking after Dad and I had been married for a while, and I said, if Ida was born at the beginning of the year and you were born at the end of the year, I said, boy, your father was really busy.
Well, his mother was pretty busy too.
Yes, and she was. I mean, he told me that when he remembered being the oldest son, that when Auntie Hazel was a baby, that his mom had to go back into the fields to work. She worked in the fields.
So she delivered a baby and then went to work in the fields?
And then she delivered the baby and maybe a day or so back to work. Nothing like what I had. I mean, I had a nice rest. I had about 4 or 5 days in the hospital. And then I came home and, I had Mrs. Ayers help me and all that stuff.
Plus, you never worked in the fields.
No. I did work in the fields, if you want to call it that. I picked strawberries.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And it didn't last very long because it was back-breaking work. And I wasn't having any of it. So that lasted a couple of days, and that was the end of it.
A couple days?
Yeah. That was not for me. And I've always, every time I used to see these people, especially the women, coming back from work, and they always wore big hats and scarves that covered their faces. They just didn't want to get all dark and everything. That was the cool reason. And I used to see them, and I always felt kind of sad for them because they had to do that kind of work, and yet I didn't have to do it.
What did you do?
I stayed home. I was a wife.
Oh, okay.
By that
Well,
time,
you-
Dad and I were married, and I didn't have Leslie yet. But we had Leslie, and I still remember Dad when you were born. He phoned his mom, and I heard him say in his dialect, Chinese dialect, we had a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Copper Dien. The Gien is the boy in the Longdu dialect.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I would say Jai, he would say Gien. So I learned that much anyhow. And I know that he was happy, and the whole Lowe family was happy. But yeah, the first person who met me, when I first met the family before we were married, all the sisters were there, and here I was, and the first person who met me was Auntie Mamie.
Mm.
She was the first she came forward to meet me.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Esther and Hazel, they were kind of young, and she was about 15 maybe, baby.
Okay.
I'm guessing, and I can't remember. Ida was. I don't think she was there because she was already married to Uncle George, and I think they had at least Leland and maybe Larry, but I don't think Dee Dee was born yet.
Okay.
I think maybe they only had Leland. I don't. In fact, this baby, the family picture showed her carrying Leland, and he was only about a year old.
Okay.
So she didn't have the other two kids yet. What else?